And we're live. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Homebuilt Workshop. Welcome to Wednesday Live. I hope you and you and you and you and you and you are all doing awesome. What's everybody up to as we get settled in? And look, we're going the right way this morning. All righty, let's see. Mike's here. Mike is 27 minutes early. He says maybe I should go back to bed. Don't go back to bed now. I mean, after we're done, you can go back to bed if you like. Good morning, Mike. Sam's here. Sam says hello, everyone. Says gonna need that beanie hat now. Yes, we're getting there. I had it on earlier, as you could probably see in the thumbnail, and it's warmed a tiny bit. Not outside, but in here it's comfortable. Paul's here. Paul says, greetings all. Good morning, Paul. How are you this morning? Robert's here. Howdy, everyone. Good morning, Robert. As we get situated here, you know what? We've had several weeks of the weird vertical video that this is now throwing me off. And if I look weird or sound funny, it's like, you guys ever choke like right out of the blue? Just for no reason, you just start choking and sneezing, and that happened just before I turned on the camera. So I had to wait for my eyes to quit watering and all that. I don't know why. Time Surfing's here. Time Surfing says, morning, everyone. Horizontal video. Yes. Donna's here. Donna says, coffee up. Coffee up. Cheers, everyone. It's a good morning for coffee. This morning, we actually hit 32 degrees Celsius. So, Fahrenheit. So 0 Celsius. Yep, this is our coldest morning we've had so far. There was a teensy bit of frost that I saw on the vehicle this morning, you know, just kind of on the roof. Little tiny bit of frost. Couldn't see anything on the ground, and I almost didn't even notice it on the car, but a little bit. So yeah, 32 degrees, and it's toasty in here though. I came out early, turned on the diesel heater, which you probably saw me rebuild everything, I don't know, quite a few weeks ago in one of the videos. That thing is working awesome. Fires up every time. Before I was having trouble with it firing up, but turned that thing on for about an hour or two beforehand, and it's toasty in here now. Mike's back from bed. Right on, Mike. I'm glad you got a little snooze in. Corey says coffee up. Right on. Grab your coffee, everyone. Your drink of choice. Paul's got his cup of joe, too. Nice. Right on. Robert says, don't do that choking thing. It's no fun. Yeah, and isn't that so weird? It's almost like right out of the blue, you just choke on something. I'm not eating food or anything. Oh boy. Time Surfing says it's cold here, 56 degrees. We've had that the last few mornings. It's been in the low 50s, and it really hasn't been bad, but we've got I don't know, cold front or something here for a couple of days, and it's supposed to be quite a bit cooler. So I've been working the last few days on just doing some cleanup, you know, just getting some things going through the shop. You know, I don't know about you, but I save way too many things, and after a while, it starts to overtake the shop, and I don't have a whole lot of shop to overtake. So I've just been doing some cleaning up, throwing some stuff away, just taking a good hard look at pretty much everything and determining, do I really need this thing? Do I need this scrap of wood? Do I need this particular tool that I haven't used in years? Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. I guess you could call it not really spring cleaning, but more of a fall cleaning. And really the main reason for that is I got an upcoming project that I'm going to show you here shortly, at least the beginnings of it. And I need to make some space. And when I show you this thing, which you could slightly see in the video thumbnail, you'll know why. Robert says 52 here now. Yeah, I think we'll probably get up there somewhere in the 50s, I think, today, maybe 60s. I don't know the exact forecast, but I know this morning our thermometer, we got one of those indoor outdoor thermometer things, it said 32. Exactly, 32.0. Paul says, I definitely need to do cleanup and arrangement. When I get back in the shop, stacks of new tools and accessories that need filed. Right on. You know, there's something that I sort of enjoy, oddly enough, about going through and kind of rearranging things and just doing a fairly heavy clean out of stuff. Um, it's I don't know how to explain it, but you probably understand what I'm talking about. You know, going through just getting rid of things and ending up with a more organized space and you know, just maybe even a little bit more space, which is what I'm trying to achieve. It's just there's something that kind of makes you feel good. Sam says, as custom emergency lighting for the shop, you could solder a 3-hour pack LED tape light, install it in a 3D printed custom enclosure with a diffuser. You know, something like that would be cool. I've seen projects where people use, you know, your tool batteries to power things. And I think something like that might be kind of fun. You know, you could use tool batteries or, you know, just any sort of battery. I've got a 12 volt deep cycle battery that runs the diesel heater. You know, connecting something to that would be kind of neat. Some sort of lighting. Yeah, something, it would be kind of cool. And Mike says, I'll send you the address to ship the CNC and laser. Nice one, Mike. Nope, those are two that I'm not getting rid of. One of the things I was trying to make some additional space for with this cleanup was the laser. Where I've been storing it, I'm going to be reconfiguring a couple things in that area, and I needed to find another spot, and I absolutely did not have another spot. So I had to spend some time, like most of the afternoon yesterday, just moving a bunch of stuff around. Yeah, specifically for that laser. Sam says 20 Celsius in the UK. 20 Celsius? Oh no, that's what, 68, 67? That's not bad. That's decent, actually. That's actually quite nice. That's what we've had the last few days. Donna says it's wintertime for you, Jeff. It is getting mighty close. It really is. Honestly, I'm surprised that it's been as nice as it has been here. Our weather really, it has been very mild this fall so far. We've had nothing as far as really cold. Like I said, the flies though are bad. This time of year, they just, I don't know, they're like looking for their last place to, I don't know, overwinter or whatever it is they do. But yeah, the weather's been quite mild, but it's fast approaching. Robert went to Stillwater, had dinner with a couple I know yesterday. After dinner, their car wouldn't start. Have an Astro AI mini jump box and use it to get the car running the first try. Right on. A jump box. That's something that I need to add to my list of things to get. You know, I always carry jumper cables and that sort of thing. We have them in both of our vehicles, but an actual jump box I think would be pretty handy. You just never know. You know, in the wintertime, we got an old tractor that we use around here for different things, and sometimes it doesn't like to start great in the winter. And I think a jump box would be something I should add to the list. Corey says 53 degrees in Oregon. Not bad, not bad. Mike says you're welcome to come over anytime to borrow it. Mike, you know, I appreciate that. So generous. Sam says, how many viewers do you have that are from the UK? I would have to dig into the analytics to see that. I wonder if I could get to that really quick. I got the laptop here. There's a fair bit. Let me see if maybe I can find that real fast. I don't want to spend a ton of time, but I know I've seen that before. Well, this says that 62.5% are from the U.S. Canada's 6.7 and UK is 4.5. I don't know what the rest are, but there's a whole bunch of other countries that, yeah, there's a lot of that information on there. UK is number 3. Australia is number 4. Speaking of Australia, where's Harry Dude this morning? But Sam, what that looks like is as far as a number, I don't know. It probably will tell me, but Mike says you're horizontal. Did you figure it out? Okay, so here's the scoop. One of you last week, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who exactly, said that you have to start the video with it horizontal. I did that this time, and it seemed to have worked. But excuse me, my throat's still a little weird. Oh yeah, Mike, it was you. Yes. So I set up the video. I scheduled it, ahead of time, so you can see that it's coming up. And when I scheduled it, I kept everything horizontal, and I never tipped my phone back to vertical, to like browse anything else. I left it that way. And then when it was time, I opened it up, left it horizontal still, and hit the live button, and it stayed. I don't know. I don't remember having to do that before. I'm pretty sure before I just scheduled it, made sure it was set horizontal, and then when it came time, I just started it and it worked. But that's the only thing I did different from times before. And yeah, it seemed to have worked. Mike, so Mike, you were correct. Robert says the Astro AI does come in handy and not that expensive either. Also bought a carry case for it as well. I'll have to check that out. There's a couple different ones that I've seen some good reviews on. I might have to pick one of those up, especially with the colder temperatures coming. Sam says, just so you know, the reverse peace hand gesture is actually flipping off the British. Interesting. I'm not gonna do it, but I got to keep that in mind. I don't typically do the peace sign anyway, but I'll do the rock and roll sign. There's Harry Dude. Harry Dude says, "What's up? Hello, everyone." Harry Dude, how are you doing this morning? How's Australia? Should be getting warm down there for you by now. Robert says the whole thing in the case is less than half the size of a football. Wow, that's actually pretty small. Interesting. So, let's see. Did you guys see the plaque video? It just reminded me because I got a spare. I got one back here, one of the big triangle ones, a couple of scrap pieces over here that I need to get rid of. That's quite the project, huh? Wow. So the update on that project is every single thing is done. Everything is completed. I had in the video, I mentioned that there was a couple last minute additions. Those are done, as well as a couple of those larger ones. They're actually in the house. They're packaged and everything, and they'll be delivered this coming weekend. There's another event here locally, and they will be delivered to the recipients at that event. So it'll be everything will be completely out of my hands. Like I said, it's all done. There's just still a few here that I'm waiting for this weekend when everyone will be in town so that they can be delivered. Mike says, and the client is happy. Yes, the client is happy. I've already got notice that, or got word anyway, that they want to have me do it again next year. So that's cool. All the files and everything are ready now, so next year will be much easier. I won't have to fight with files and all that stuff. So yeah, that project is, I say it's done because I am done with everything, but it's not done until these last 6 that I have are actually delivered. So that'll be this weekend. But man, even though it was a ridiculous amount of work, and I couldn't have done it with some of your help as well as some of my friends' help, and I'm glad it's done. I'm glad we got everything done. The client's happy, and yeah, it was super cool. There was so much of a learning experience, really. None of it on its own was all that difficult. But if you had to make one or two, it's no big deal. But the fact that I ended up having to make a total of 40, it was originally 37, 3 last minute additions, brings it up to 40 of these things. And was a huge, huge project. And it was cool. Lots of things I got to learn, even though, like I said, there's not a whole lot, any one step was not that hard. It's just the scope of everything. But I got to do some new stuff. Heat set inserts and 3D printing, adding those inserts, so cool. And I've already used that on the project that'll be coming out this weekend. I incorporated some 3D printing with some heat set inserts, just doing huge batch processing of parts, not something I typically do. Just was a cool project, and definitely, even though it was stressful, I didn't have a lot of time and I lost some sleep. It was fun. It really was. Time Surfing says those plaques were awesome. Thanks, Time Surfing Alien. Yeah, that was definitely cool. Sam says, try bacon buddies. You'll need British style bacon to do this. Butter up some burger buns and add ketchup. Not possible with American bacon. Rashers? I don't know what that is. What's a rasher? It does sound good. Some burger buns. Ooh, put a fried egg on there. Yeah. It's probably a whole different thing, but that sounds good to me. I love a good breakfast sandwich. Robert says, hopefully next year you get the kickoff time to start sooner. Yes. So this year, I knew about the project coming up, but there was issues with the people that used to produce them, and trying to find replacement vendors and whatnot. It just took a long time, and unfortunately that didn't leave us with a lot of time to get it done. Next year will be completely different, hopefully. And that we'll have more time. I'll be able to start the 3D prints. In fact, I might even start running them off, one here, one there, and just storing them aside. That way they're done, or a majority of them are done and printed. I don't have to run the printer. It literally ran for 4 weeks, nonstop, day and night. That's the new printer. With some, with testing and all that sort of thing, but it ran a lot. So, but yeah, next year will be a whole different process. Boy, the flies, did you see that? It's just like dive bombed me. Francisco Gonzalez is here. Says, hello, Jeff. Well, good morning, Francisco. Or afternoon, but depending on where you are, but welcome. How's your day going so far? What sort of projects are you working on? And everybody, what sort of projects are you working on? I'm going to show you what I was working on and what I will be working on here very quick, but let me know what y'all are working on. Francisco says, you remind me of Rob Halford of Judas Priest. Well, that's one I've not heard before. Mike says, and you got a new printer out of the process. Yeah, well, I kind of wanted one anyway, so, but yeah. Time Surfing says, sounds like a good testament to the quality of the printer. I agree. I've had 0 issues, aside from just learning curve type stuff, figuring everything out. But yeah, it's just been a great machine so far. It's right out of the box. We put it straight to work and it didn't get a break, and I've not had a single issue. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I have 0 complaints, and it's not sponsored or anything, right? So I bought this printer, and it's so far it's been awesome. Sam says, do Americans like popcorn with their butter in movie theaters? We don't drown popcorn. It's mean. No, Sam, I love popcorn. I really do. And I like a lot of butter. Butter, and it's got to have salt. Just butter for me is not enough. I got to have some salt in there. Occasionally, if I'm at the store, I'll pick up one of those little things of different flavored seasonings. You've probably seen those popcorn seasonings. Um, just some different flavors of cheese or whatever, but just plain butter and salt. Oh man, I will eat a tub of popcorn until I have a stomach ache. Robert says, yeah, maybe even have the wood bases put together and ready to go when you get the nod to go. Yeah, absolutely. I've been pondering that, exactly how I want to approach that, because I've got to have a bunch of material on hand in order to build the bases. So I could go to the store and I could buy a bunch of walnut right now, but I don't have a whole lot of space to store, on 50 board feet, 70, whatever I decide to get ahead of time, for a long period of time. I don't want to have to store it like all winter and stuff like that. So maybe in the springtime, I might go and just get some, and then I could start slowly, just working on a couple here, a couple there kind of thing. That way all the blanks are at least glued up. That would save a bunch of time too. Just knowing now that that I'll be doing this again next year will really help, because I can plan ahead. This year was just a very short time to get everything done, and I'm definitely looking forward to a little bit of a smoother process next year. Doesn't mean, and at this exact moment, we don't really know how many there's going to be either. Apparently, the year before, it was only about 13 or 14 that were made. So people, they earn these as they go throughout the season. Apparently last year was only like 14 or something like that. This year was 40. So who knows what we'll have. I don't want to go and make, make 30 of these and then, maybe only 20 of them get used. So just I'm going to play it by ear just a little bit as we go. Drizzy Guitars, what's up? How's it going? Good morning. Time Surfing Alien says, I've used unsalted butter for coffee creamer. Old Timer showed me that. Not bad. I have seen that, where people put a little pat of butter in there. Not something I've ever tried, but I've definitely seen that several times. Mike says, now you need to come up with a project with the scrap walnut. The little triangle offcuts. Most of those I have already moved on. They're out of here. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of scrap. I've got just a few little bit longer pieces, and I've got one board left, which it's got a tiny bit of sapwood on it. As I'm looking at it, I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. Oh, and the one that I saved, the one that has all the figure that I'm thinking should become a guitar. Time Surfing says, I'm almost 60, so that dude was ancient. It's not ancient. Sam says you can make a London theme from wood in your daughter's bedroom while she's at school. Like on the wall. Oh, like a piece of wall art or something? Yeah, that'd be kind of neat. Robert says, I have rediscovered the Crunch and Munch popcorn, caramel and peanut kind, like the Cracker Jacks used to be able to find. I remember that, Crunch and Munch. Paul says, put them in some colored epoxy and turn a cool bowl out of it, because you need a lathe. Hint, hint. I've thought about a lathe, and it would have to be one of them, what do they call them, a midi lathe? Those little tiny ones? It would have to be one of them super small ones that I could put up on the shelf or something like that. Aaron's here. Aaron asks, can you make a ukulele? Yeah, I could make a ukulele. I have not made a ukulele. That's about one instrument that I have not yet tackled. But yeah, there's, it's just a smaller acoustic guitar in a sense. I mean, a few differences, but overall, yeah, there's no reason why we couldn't make a ukulele. Have you ever made a ukulele? Alpha Squad says, hi, Jeff. I'm working on, oops, it scrolled, sorry. I'm working on a cub bear carving on top of a pumpkin. Probably posted on my other channel, Craft Dynamics. Oh, what's up, dude? Thanks for your motivational words last week. I'll keep on the grind. Right on, right on. Yeah, that's cool. Are you making a video on it? Oh, you just said that on the Craft Dynamics channel. Yeah, I got to meet uh Alpha Z Quad. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering that. Just getting started. His channel is Craft Dynamics. And I'm gonna show everybody the thing in just a minute. It's kind of my upcoming project. Yeah, just keep at it, man. Just keep doing what you do. Sam asks, do Americans add butter to cotton candy too? I don't know. I am not a fan of cotton candy. It's just not. I don't enjoy it. I don't know if it's I don't do super sweet anyway for the most part, but there's something about just like that plain sugar and like the gritty kind of texture. I don't know. It's just not my favorite. My daughter loves it, but I don't. I'm not a fan. Paul says, everything's mo better with mo butter. Robert says, I ate a box of Crunch and Munch last night as a snack. Francisco asks, urethane lacquer can be sprayed over nitrocellulose lacquer. Let me think about that for a few here. I want to reach out to all of you. I have not tried that myself. Part of me says yes, but I almost think if I was going to do that and I wasn't sure, I feel like you're going to see this, the smoke's going to come out. You're going to see smoke. I feel like I would put some sort of a barrier between the two. Now that may not be necessary, but something like a coat of shellac. Shellac is a great finish to use in between dissimilar finishes, if that makes sense. A shellac is a very neutral finish. It works over and under almost everything, maybe everything. I'm not sure on that one. But I feel like that would be a good little bit of insurance to make sure that the two don't give you issues, right? Because I'm not 100% sure if you can put something over nitro. I don't have a whole lot of experience with nitrocellulose lacquer. It's just not something that I use. But I think if I was going to attempt it, I would probably do a coat of, just regular shellac, just as a sealer, kind of. That way, when you put the urethane over top of it, it's gonna blend together. It's gonna bond. It's not gonna react. But if you're gonna spray, is there a reason you couldn't just spray more nitro? Just a question. Time Surfing says, I had butter flavored cotton candy in Malaysia. Wow. Sam says, in the UK, we call cotton candy floss. I've heard that. Candy floss, yeah. Alpha Squad says, yeah, it's a cool project. Yes, I'm going to show it in a minute. Jimmer's here. Jimmer says, what's up? What's up, man? How's it going? Right on. What are you working on today? What's on the lift? So I want to show you guys a project. So I mentioned that I was doing some cleanup, trying to make some space for what I'm going to show you in a moment. But the project that I put together for this week's video was a bit of an organizational project, a shop project for me, but it would be kind of a cool project for something around the house. I'm going to try to swing the camera around and show you what it is. I don't know how this is going to work. I think I'm just going to pick this up and we're just going to zip over here. I'm going to get in the way and probably knock you guys around a little bit. We're gonna zip. Oh, you can't see it. You can't see it. All right, we're going handheld, and I'm gonna lay on the floor here. So I just made this little thing here, this little storage cabinet. Before there was a little bit of a shelf here, and I would store stuff like this, CA glue and different things on there. But I'd always end up knocking it on the floor. This is really shaky. I'm sorry about that. So I kind of got fed up with it. So I made this little cabinet with a little sliding thing. Kind of reminds me of, you know, Grandpa's gun cabinet kind of thing. That's kind of what was inspiring me. You know, you'd have, at least my grandpa, you know, had a little cabinet, had some sort of sliding doors, and you'd have the, you know, but yeah, it made a huge difference just being able to store these things and keep them a little bit out of the dust. I got some 3D printed knobs on here with HBW for Home Built Workshop in there in a different color. These have the heat press inserts in there, and just been, you know, just a little cool thing. A couple areas, I'm sure you guys don't have areas around your shop where you're just fed up with the organization. You don't, that doesn't happen to you, does it? But yeah, so this is the little piece that I put together for this coming week. I got to get the video edited yet, but yeah, it turned out really good. It's got some 3D printed, I made some little tracks that this acrylic rides in. Those are 3D printed knobs. The back has kind of a paneling kind of look. It's separate pieces, and I put a bevel on the edge, so really came together pretty nice for a simple, you know, fairly simple little cabinet. But something like that would be kind of cool around the house. Maybe got an area you need to store stuff. I don't know, spice cabinet. I don't know. It used a lot of things, but pretty cool. And it turned out pretty well, I think. So that's what we're working on this coming week. That's gonna be the video for this coming week. So make sure you stay tuned. I'm gonna see if I can put you guys back here without throwing you on the ground. And then I want to show you the project that I'm going to be working on slowly. As I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know what all I'm going to need to do. But if you remember, I think a week ago, oh yeah, I mentioned it last week, that I was going to look at this sander because I found for this plaque project an edge sander would have saved me a bunch of time. Well, I got to looking around for an edge sander, and they're pretty expensive. And but this one I found on Marketplace, and it was pretty cool. And actually, it was one that Alpha Squad had. Got to meet up with him. It was pretty awesome. But this thing's cool, and my goal is to convert it into an edge sander. So I'm gonna catch back with your comments here in a minute, but let's take a look at this thing. It's fairly ridiculous, and I love it. See if I can get to that angle down here. I guess I gotta lay on the floor again. So this behemoth is the sander that I was going to go look at. When I got it, it was of course on a table. The only thing I've done so far is unbolted it from the table, pulled the motor off, and I got it sitting here so I can start to take some measurements. The table's already been used for another thing. Remember that storage for the laser I was working on I told you about? But yes, this thing is super cool, and I am really glad to have this. It is awesome. So apparently, you know, this was built, I don't know when, but it's flathead screws, most of it. So to me, I would imagine someone like my grandpa, you know, would have put this thing together. This thing is a beast. It's 8-inch. It's an 8-inch wide belt, and the belt is 108 inches long, so 9 feet. It's 9 feet long. That's like a 4-foot edge sander. It's super cool. It has what looks like machined aluminum bushings and different bits and pieces. The rollers are hardwood. Looks like it's turned. I'm guessing the whole roller is solid with some turned aluminum. Excuse me, my throat. I don't know what's going on. It spins ridiculously easy for the size of it. Of course, right now the motor's not connected. Pillow block bearings. It's just a cool piece of equipment, and I love it because it's handmade by somebody, right? It's not some commercially available thing. Yes, the commercially ones are perfectly fine and they do the job. They're super cool. But to me, there's something special about this. Somebody's grandpa, I'm guessing, at one time put this together for his workshop. It's got that old plywood smell, and it's just super awesome. It runs really smooth. We fired it up when I went to look at this thing, and it is unbelievably smooth for a homemade unit. Mostly plywood. Does have like an 1/8 inch, maybe a 3/16 plate on the top. Very similar to what you'd find, on a regular sander. It's like perfectly level. Like everything is, for a homemade deal, everything is amazingly smooth. My goal for this is to reconfigure everything and stand it up on edge. Maybe I don't need to. Maybe I could leave it flat and just have a taller fence so that I could, well, let's see. If I just had a tall fence, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. Let me scoot you up a little bit. Maybe if it just had a tall fence that it could register against. That might be easier. But anyway, the goal is to use this to be able to sand the edges. You could literally sand it probably in seconds and keep everything nice and smooth, because I spent a lot of time sanding these edges. And I think this will accomplish the goal. That actually might be easier now that I'm thinking about this. Just build a fence, that'll adjust still. And I don't know. That I'm thinking about that. But let's scoot back over here. But that's the project. I don't know exactly when I'm going to start on this. Probably in the next couple of days. I've got a couple ideas, and now that I'm thinking about that, if I just had a tall fence, that might be easier than to stand it on edge. It definitely would. But anyway, that's it. That's the project that I'm going to be working on. I do have a smaller table that I think I will mount that to. The table that this was originally on, that came from the person that made it, was like a 4-foot. It's like a 4x4 table, way too big for my tiny little shop. But this thing's super cool. So that's definitely an awesome project, an awesome machine. Like I said, I love homemade stuff. Especially I think of my grandfather. He would throw. This really reminds me of he would cobble something together. This isn't necessarily cobbled together, and it's actually done quite nice, especially to see how smooth it runs. But just stuff like that. I love it, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Oh, you're a little far away. I'm gonna scoot you in a little bit. So, all right, I'm coming back to comments. If there's something else on here you want to see, we can go back to it. Paul says, no, urethane lacquer should not be sprayed over nitro. This is due to curing time, drying time, and the fact that urethane will lift off the nitro. There you go. There's a useful piece of information. Thank you, Paul. Now, Paul, what do you think about some shellac over the nitro? Is there still going to be compatibility issues? I may be way off on thinking that you could do that, and I don't want to mislead anyone. So if you got any thoughts on that, let me know. Jimmer's working on Ford truck evap codes. Interesting. Time Servant says, don't mess with the camera too much. May default to vertical. Yeah, you're right. It might. I don't want that to happen. That'd be terrible. Sam was going through my old DVD collection today, or was going through his DVD collection. I no longer have anything to play DVDs on, so I'm giving them to my uncle who does have a DVD player. Can you rip them to like a hard drive or something so that you still have them? Paul says, surprised you don't have a mini fridge to store your CA glue. We'll add to the life and keep the life to it to keep it cold. Yes, I've heard that. But usually no, I don't store it in a fridge. I don't know. I've heard that you should. Maybe I should just take it inside, put it in the fridge. That'd go over well. Let's see. Sam says, my home is my workshop, bedroom, office, and living room. You know, I do that a lot as well, especially on this plaque project we just finished. Literally, almost every room in the house became a station, so to speak, for some aspect of putting those together. Of course, I had the 3D printer, running in one part. My guitar setup area became the assembly station for installing the heat press inserts and kind of staging for all the prints. The living room became kind of the drying area. Once I sprayed them, I would take, and they were dry enough to handle, I took them inside and they sat in front of a fan to finish stinking up the house. And the table, kitchen table became, or a dining table became an area for adding the gold accents, and the assembly table. Like, it just literally took over everything. It was pretty cool. Time Serpent says, Sam, same. Pick a spot. Jimmer says, got the emblems in the shop. No, I don't. They are in the house. But yes, I got to get back and do some more testing with a different material now. So for those of you that, if you don't remember, I think at one point we've talked about how Jim has a really cool custom Jeep trailer setup, camping rig and everything. Super awesome, all handmade. But I'm making custom emblems for this that match the Jeep emblems. It's something I've kind of been tinkering on for quite a while, but now that we have the new printer, I'm working on 3D printing these, and since I have multicolor, there's like literally no painting required. I can just print it in multiple colors, but I'm working on these emblems. It's not a video project or anything. It's just something that I'm working on. But I've pretty much prototyped them all in PLA, and now I'm going to be switching over to some PETG filament, which I haven't used yet, but we're going to switch load up the AMS with some PETG, and I'm going to print a bunch of these emblems in some PETG, for its a little bit more durable outdoor resistance, I guess, because these are going to go on the side of a vehicle, basically, and I need to use something that's a little more UV stable. Is that even a word? But yeah, they're looking really cool. Like, being able to do multicolored prints. If you've never done a multicolored print, it is super awesome. And with this new printer, I printed some, like, my daughter found these Halloween ghosts, just some Halloween decorations. We printed some, and I printed some in ABS the other day. I didn't have to do anything. I just loaded the ABS, told the system it had ABS, and it just printed. It's incredible. So I'm not foreseeing any issues when I go to the PETG. It's just, we're just going to print these out and get them done. It's looking really cool. So something else I'm working on off camera. But yeah, Jimmer, I should have brought them out here. I don't even have one of the test ones out here, but I think they're going to be cool. I'm going to send you, when I get them all done, I'm sending you all of them. I'm going to send you the test ones. And I'm going to send you, all of them together, and I'll label them so you know what's what. Harry Dude says, I keep my CA glue in the workshop fridge, and it does help. Has anyone had issues with Starbond CA shelf life? Mine seems to not be happy and takes a while to cure without accelerator. So I second that, Harry Dude. I use Starbond as well. It's like pretty much the only one I use because I like all the different colors. I like the different viscosities. Um, I ran out of accelerator last week, I believe, and I had to glue a couple of things. And without the accelerator, it takes forever. So I don't think you're alone in that. I don't know if that's a property of the Starbond. I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. Not use accelerator, it does take a long time. I've not had issues with shelf life that I'm aware of. I've had one or two get thicker than I feel like it should be. But overall, and I don't keep it refrigerated. So I don't know. For the most part, it's been good when I go to use it. But I will second that your point of it takes a long time without the accelerator, and I just got to keep in mind that I got to have more accelerator on hand. Like if I need to buy one can, I need to buy actually two cans. That way you don't run out. And you don't have to use their particular accelerator. There are times when I've run to the store. We have a Woodcraft locally. Actually, now they sell Starbond, but before I would just buy whatever accelerator was there, and it seems to work. So I don't know. But yeah, it does take an extremely long time. Sam says, cool belt sander. Yes, it's so awesome. It's way like Paul said, that's huge. Yeah, it's insane. A 9 foot long belt. If you cut it and stretch it out, 108 inches. Yes. Jim says that sander is a monster. Yes, and it is so awesome. I don't have room for it. I really don't have room for it. But it's just cool enough that I can't not have room for it. Like I said, it's just, the homemade stuff. Like, it reminds me of like my grandpa. Somebody's grandpa put this thing together. I am almost sure of. And they've done it quite well. So I can't not have it. It's awesome. Right now it's connected. Well, not at the moment. It's not connected to any motor, but it's connected to a 3-horse motor, an old Craftsman 3-quarter horse motor. It was all wired up with 2-wire, an old school light switch. I'm gonna probably revamp that. We're gonna obviously go to 3-wire. Probably gonna do one of those magnetic type start-stop switches. Kind of update it as far as the wiring for safety and that sort of thing. But at this exact moment, I don't think I'm going to change hardly anything. May change how it's mounted, because that is one thing that's a little weird to change the belts. It's not super convenient to change the belts because of the way it's mounted. It's got 4-corner mounting, which is great for keeping everything flat. But when you need to change the belts, you've got to like unbolt one of the legs it's a little clunky there. But overall, it's awesome. Of course, I don't even know how often you have to change a belt. I mean, the thing, it's so giant. It probably would take a while for the belt to wear out. So maybe it's fine. I don't know. I might just do the conversion or, get it reconfigured and run it to see. I feel like this could possibly be one of those projects that I revisit a time or two, making improvements on, but it's super cool. Mike asks, when is the shop expansion build coming out? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you're not kidding. I just have to keep like getting rid of stuff that I don't use. And there's not a whole lot of that, but we're finding room. Heritage says, I want to see you make that oscillate. Wouldn't that be cool? I have an idea of how you could do it. I think. And it would be cool. Man, that would maybe that's version 2 or 4 or 20. I think right now, first version, I want to just get it back up and running, and configure some sort of a fence. But yeah, oscillate would be pretty cool. Like I said, I have an idea of how you could. It's just pulling off that idea. It involves linear rails and, some sort of a cam on probably a smaller motor to run it back and forth. If I mount the whole thing on linear rails, and then you 3D print some cams out of, I don't know, nylon or something, that, it's like on an oblong thing. Like I could see how to make that mechanism work. And actually that would be, there's a bug. That would solve my issue with changing belts too. There's so many things you could do. It's just a matter of how far are we going with it. It's just cool. It's just cool. Sam says, see if you can upgrade the belt sander to 2,000 miles an hour for super sanding. Oh man, that'd be ridiculous. I don't know what the RPM is on that motor. What did I do with it? Oh, it's sitting over there. I think it's just like a, 1850 RPM, direct drive. It uses one of those, it's a Lovejoy coupler, that gives that little rubber bushing in between to absorb some of the vibration. It runs ridiculously smooth. It really does. Yeah, Paul says, I'm thinking the same thing. Time for the Home Built Workshop to increase the size of Home Built Workshop. It is. It is. Yeah. Alpha Squad says, ooh, that's awesome that the table portion was able to be used for something else. I'm glad it went to a good home. Yes, dude. I don't like to throw stuff away. Even though I don't have room for a lot of things, like it's just super cool. I'm so glad to have this thing. Like I said a million times. But yeah, I use the table to put some other stuff on. Right now it's holding my laser engraver and a few other things. Just gave me some additional storage. I do have a smaller table that I think this will work best on. Could be wrong, but that's the plan at the moment. I've got a long, skinny, that's probably, I don't know, 12 inches, 16 inches wide, 3 feet long or so, just a kind of a narrow table. I plan on adapting, or at least mounting this too. I'm now second guessing if I'll flip it up or not. I almost think a fence would solve the problem. Just a tall fence mounted as is, I think would probably work just as good. But we'll see. But yeah, I didn't throw any of it away. Well, some of the wiring, but like I said, the wiring was just that, old school two wire. But yeah, we're just using the whole thing. So I always have that table now. Well, we'll have this thing. It's just a cool machine. Tony's here. Tony says, morning sunshine. Sunshine. Tony, what's going on? Mike says, I would place a board on it and it would fly across the garage. Yeah, it runs pretty good. Paul says, let Gina know that you're going to install it in the bathroom. It's a fingernail. We'll just call it a fingernail filer. Yeah, see, I like it. This is an industrial grade fingernail filer, and you just, and then you only have half a finger. Yeah, Alpha Squad, doggy treat launcher. Mike says you need an end stop. Yeah, probably a good idea. Maybe I'll build that into the fence. Maybe it flips into place or something. There's so many ideas. Now I am really second guessing adding or flipping this up on end. That was my original thought. I wanted to flip it up and have a flat edge. I'm really second guessing that now. I think it might be better to leave it flat and just build a fence, but a tall fence, or at least fairly tall, so that when I go to sand some edges, that it will register against, there's plenty of meat there to register this thing against. Yeah, That's my thought. We'll see what happens. Sam says, don't stand up too quickly. The blood will rush your head. It makes you feel... I know, it happens sometimes. Mike says, and dust collection. Yes, I've already got all those ideas. I'm going to 3D print, design and 3D print some sort of a shroud for the end. Once it's all set up, whatever end it's pulling all the dust, I want to make a shroud with a dust port in there to collect it all. Yeah, I got all those ideas. But I need to get it mounted on a table first so that it's actually up and running before I even worry about if I'm going to flip it. I think I'm going to leave it flat. It seems though it might be more usable flat. I don't know. I see advantages to both. What do you guys think? In your opinion, knowing that I've got, this is what I have in mind, right? To be able to sand edges of panels. Do you think that tipping it up would make it more usable, or should I leave it laying flat? Laying flat would sort of simplify the process a little bit. As long as there's a fence and an end stop, right? So it didn't grab the thing and send it sailing. I don't see why I couldn't leave it flat. But I want to, you give me your thoughts on that, because it's an open canvas right now. I already have ideas of how I can stand it up, but I mean, it's already laying flat, so I could just roll with it as is, even though the belts are hard to change like that. Let me know. I'm open to suggestions for sure. Robert says, a couple weeks ago, I watched a video of a transforming storage workshop bench that fold up out of the way. The T. I think I may have seen something similar. That sounds mighty familiar. No, I'm thinking of the bench that turns into a picnic table. Mike says, guards to prevent loose clothing from getting caught in the drums. Absolutely. Yes. Yep. All the safety stuff. When I worked in town, I had to do I had to keep a lot of safety stuff in mind. If there was, I built a lot of machine guards, a lot of safety stops and things. So yeah, I got all that stuff in mind, and we'll make it safe. Yes, it's going to be homemade, but we'll make it safe. Nice, easy stop switch, start, stop switch. Maybe I'll use the same kind of paddle switch that I have on my belt grinder. I believe it's one of those magnetic ones, so if power goes out, you actually have to start it back up. It disconnects everything. Probably do that sort of thing. And yeah, we'll make it safe and still cool. Francisco says, thanks, Paul. There you go, Francisco. Again, don't quote me on what I said initially. I was just some thoughts coming off my head. I don't want you to go ahead and do that and say, if it doesn't work, well, that guy told me that to use shellac, and then that it may not work. And Paul, I think confirmed that. Robert says the YouTuber is Matthew Peach. Oh yeah, Peach Woodworking or Peach Woodworks. Sam says can't copy many DVDs now with copyright protection. Interesting. I'm like way behind on comments, so I'm getting caught up here. Paul says shellac's not recommended due to the same issues. Strong solvents and nitro can melt or react with non-cellulose finishes. Interesting. It's considerably softer than most other finishes. Robert says lost internet for a short time. Had to restart my router. I had to do that once in a while too. Jimmer, what did you think about finding a second GT? Dude, that is awesome. How cool is that? That somebody just up and volunteered, and offered you that other one. That's so cool. You guys remember a month or so ago or something? Jim was talking about someone stole his GT that we used to ride around on, and back in the day, junior high school. But somebody reached out to him and heard about that story and offered up one that they had as well. It's so cool for his daughter to ride around now. So way cool. Sam says perhaps get a MiFi battery operated router that works like a mobile phone. It's great in an emergency. Afrogicus, All metal head and some carbon nylon. Yeah. Sam says UV stabilization is real. Protects treated surfaces from UV rays. Jim says next week reveal the logo. I could reveal it. Do you want me to? Is that what you're talking about? Paul says just curious if the sander has a hand crank to generate electricity to run it, or does it use a hit and miss motor? Oh man, a hit and miss motor would be sweet. I just got the old school leather belt. It runs out the side of the wall to the hit and miss motor out back. That would be awesome. No, it's got a motor. There's a motor coupler on the far end, but I have the motor off it right now because I was trying to, it was bolted to the table separately. So I got to figure out how to integrate the motor back into it with the table that I plan on using. I got some ideas, but we'll see how that works out. But yeah, just hit and miss motor on it would be awesome. We'll just get one of them big, flat pulleys, leather belt out there, running it. That'd be sweet. And Gina's here. Well, Gina says, wow. I'm way late, but made it all. Made it. Hi all. I can't read. Welcome. Mike says, easier to move the piece of wood. Don't oscillate. I know, but it would be cool. Just as like the mechanism, I think would be cool. I love mechanisms and different, crank and arm type assemblies. Just all that kind of stuff's just cool to me. Like old machinery. You see some of these old machines. I saw like some sort of a shingle mill recently, an old shingle mill that uses, one of the big circular saw blades that you typically see upright, but the shingle mill, it has it tipped at an angle. And there's this mechanism that as you push your log through, there's a little arm that like tips stuff one way and tips stuff the other way. And like, I love all those different mechanisms and how things used to work. And now it all seems done with like, I don't know, different servo motors and this and that, which is also cool. But to me, there's something really cool about just the old mechanisms that, people used to put on all sorts of machines, old printing presses and, just the mechanisms to make everything go. It's super cool. Sam says you can make a tilt platform to use it on its side or at an angle. Yeah, I think that would be cool too. I thought about that. The issue, and it might not be an issue, but the one thing that I got to keep in mind is that motor is connected directly to that back pulley or back wheel. So I got to make the motor's got to tip with it somehow. And it's a fair bit of weight to, you can't have, I don't want it all hanging. I don't know. There's just a couple things with that. I think it's a great idea because I do see an advantage of being able to do that. I gotta ponder on that first. Mike says, Gina, Jeff has lost it. Mike, you're telling her? Robert says, do you have enough room at your place to put in one of those shipping containers? Yes, kind of. I don't know where I'd put it, but yes, there is, I think. Sam says, Gina, hello. Time Servant says, file all 10 nails simultaneously. Yeah. Gina says, Mike, yeah, he lost his marbles a long time ago. He's hunting marbles from paint cans now. Well, I wasn't going to bring that up. I don't have them out here, but when you shake a can of paint, right? And you hear the rattly thing in there. Did you guys know that I've not found, anyway, there's might be some, but those are glass marbles inside them. Did you know that? I'm serious. Like I said, there may be some that aren't, but somebody told me that years ago. And I'm like, no way, that's like a little metal ball bearing or something. Well, then we opened one up. And I kid you not, it is a glass marble. So with this plaque project, I had a lot of empty cans. So now, like I went and opened them all up, or most of them. And I've got a nice little collection of glass marbles. But next time you finish a paint can, safely poke a hole in it. Safely. And let the pressure out, or make sure the pressure's all out, safely poke a hole in it, tear the can open, and I almost guarantee that you will find a glass marble inside that paint can. And they're cool. I'm going to start a collection of them. That way, my marbles are not lost. See? They'll be in a little jar. I've got a little jar right up there that I'm going to use. And I'm going to put it in that little cabinet that I just made with the little slidey door. Sam says, just an idea. Instead of buying expensive clay discs for shooting practice, why not use cheaper Steven Seagal movies? I see what you did. So, Robert says, Sam, thanks. Might check into it. Paul says, leave it flat, and on your fence, place a stop block. Yeah, I agree. Heritage says, standing it up would make it easier to change belts. Yes, you are absolutely correct. There's pros and cons, I think, to both ways. Unless I reconfigure how this is mounted, which I might. Some sort of a very stout bracket of some sort so that it can just, because right now it's kind of ingenious, really. It's mounted on, they've used like 3/4 inch black iron pipe, and it has 4 feet, just those thread-on feet to mount it to the table. But in order to change the belts, you've got to unbolt one of those, or unbolt 2 of those feet so that it can lift up. I might build some sort of a very stout L, not an L, almost a U. Maybe I could 3D print them. I wonder if it'd be strong enough. Probably would. Some sort of a U-shaped bracket. Let me bring you back over again. And I like this brainstorming. We're past the hour, but that's okay. I love the brainstorm. I just love the brainstorm with you guys. I don't want to knock this off the table. So I don't know if you can't really see, but there's 4 legs. Come on, slide. There, you can sort of see right here. You can see the base. It's just one of those cast iron pipe flanges. And then this is black iron pipe, and then he's designed a little tensioner deal here. But right now it bolts to those 4, which makes it super easy to mount. But when you want to change the belts, this leg is in the way. So I'm thinking, if I built a U-shaped deal, a very skinny U-shape, right? So let's see. This side has the motor. The motor mounts to that side. I'm feeling like that's the back. So if I had a U that mounted underneath this, but above the belt, like, I know you guys can't, it's not a great angle, but the belt is down here, almost at the table height. A U that comes through, it loops down around and comes back under the belt. That way, it would hold it up, still be supported, and then the belt could come off this way. Again, I don't know how often you'd have to change belts, but I feel like in the long run, you should be able to without unbolting it from the table. That's my thought. If I could take some, I don't know, 2x2, 2x4, not an actual 2x4, but like I've got some 2¼ inch. I've got a bunch of silver maple, thick silver maple. I've got some thick elm. Might be strong enough. I don't know. But I think that's what I want to do. I want to be able to change the belts without unbolting it from the table. It's amazing how easy this spins. It really is. Like, he did a very, very nice job. Anyway, it's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy it. I already am, just thinking of different ways to kind of make different things happen. Sorry, I just whooped you around there. Sam says, who needs guards to protect clothing? Getting tangled? I'll just go naked, no clothing, no problem. I don't recommend it. Mike says, gotta go, but consider the belt may shift, but my belt sander is vertical but not as big. It's a Grizzly. Oh yes, I have a small, small belt sander, which is tiny compared to this one. And yeah, you got to there is tracking adjustment on here. There's even a handwritten note, which is kind of cool, that says belt tracks to long side. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the long side is, but Sam says, be safe, Mike. Mike says, ever see old shingle people anymore? There's a reason. Safety rules. Yes. Jim says, I need a new Wi-Fi router. Any recommendations? Yes, I'm reveal the emblems. Okay, I will. I'll do that next week. Well, I can only. This is the one that I have. This is, and this is not sponsored or anything. I can't even read that. This is an Asus AXE 7800, but I have 3 of these, and you can get the the mesh systems, which work pretty good, but that's why I have this one, because you can just add more routers and connect it to as a mesh network, which gives you a wider coverage. That's what I have, but there's a ton of them out there that that you could use. Robert says you could make a jig to use that sander as a fretboard radiusing by swinging it from above. Yes. Oh, Robert. Another advantage to leave it standing up. I did not think about that. I have seen those, where you have the swing arm. Oh, man. I might have to do that. Good idea, Robert. Thanks for putting that idea in my head. Yes, I did not think about that. Wow, yeah, another use for it. Sam says, don't lose your marbles. Yeah. Henry's here. Henry says, whoops, looks like I missed it today. Hope you had a good stream. Henry, welcome. And yeah, we're still here. We're a little past the hour, but that's okay. We're brainstorming. I'm brainstorming an upcoming project. I bought a giant belt sander. It's got a 9-foot long belt, 8 inches wide. Some homemade deal. It's super awesome. I'm going to be converting it into some sort of a little bit more usable sander. This is, this thing is super awesome. Picked it up from a guy here locally. Homemade deal. Somebody's grandpa, built it to use for his projects. But yeah, we're brainstorming, and I love the brainstorming. And I'm not even upset that we're past the hour. That's fine. Sam said, just need a wood bending steamer. Jimmer says, my dad and uncles collected and played with those exact glass marbles back when they were kids. So it's always been glass marbles. I mean, for a long time. It's cool. I'm starting a collection of them now. I've got, I don't know, a dozen of them just from this recent project. Heritage says you could use 2 of those black legs to mount it, and the connecting pipe would make a hinge so you could use it standing up or flat. You could if the threads turn. Yeah, there's so many ways. That's why I say I think this might be a project that we go back and revisit. Once I get it up and running, sort of in its initial configuration. It may not be perfect, but operable. I did that with the belt grinder when I built that years ago. My first, in the actual build video, I didn't have the switch or anything on there. I literally just got it working. And then I think in the next video, I don't know if I did it the week after or not, but in the next video, I went back and I made a few changes, added the wiring and stuff like, the switch and all that. I feel like this could possibly be something like that. I don't often go back and revisit, but maybe it's, part 1 of 2 or 1 of 3 kind of things as we slowly work through different requirements. And I feel like this is going to be one of them because it's just too cool. I can't say that enough. Sam says you can make it folding. Just fold it to change belts, and the sheer weight of it will keep it down and straight. That's true. mount it on some hinges or something. Paul says, gotta go. Have a great week, guys. Paul, you have a great week too. Keep on that ankle recovery. Sam says, autocorrect sucks. It is. I don't like it. Almost like these flies. I don't like these flies. Robert says, you might weld a U-shaped leg out of square tube for the sander. I think you're right. I think a steel leg would be better than trying to do something out of wood. I think that would be the way to go. Make some heavy-duty steel tube, some 1.5 inch square or something like that. Maybe even 2 inch. Then it definitely would not move. Yeah. Cool. Well, anyway, guys, man, I'm like fired up to like get working on this thing. But before I can, I got to finish doing some cleanup because I got to clear the table that this is going to go on. I mean, I got the laser off of it and onto another table, but I got to finish reorganizing stuff so that I can start working on this. Actually, I dragged this in just so I could show you guys. And it just like that, it's heavy. But yeah, I got to get back to cleaning. I've been covered in dust for the last day, 2 days, just plastered in dust because as I'm sorting through stuff. But I got to get back at it so that I can tear into this project because I am really excited to start on this. It's going to be cool. So anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. And if you're still on here and you have not hit that thumbs up button, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Algorithms, I don't know. Anyways, now that I got a bunch more ideas, the fretboard sander, oh man, yeah, I got to do that. But anyway, thank you guys. I really enjoy these brainstorm sessions, the lives. I love hearing your thoughts and things, especially on stuff like this. So thank you so much. Another good one in the books. I got to get these flies out of here and get some more dust and debris out of here and get things cleaned up. So I'm going to get back at it. One last cheers to all of you. Thank you so much. Sam says thanks for the fantastic stream. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone. Always my pleasure. And be on the lookout this weekend. Video for the little slidey door cabinet storage thingy. Technical term. You guys have a good one. Have an awesome week. Try to get out, enjoy the outdoors, get outside, get to working on projects in your shop, your space, whatever, and have some fun. Enjoy the weather wherever you are in the world. And all the best to all of you. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. Thanks a lot for watching and tuning in. And we'll see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Later.